Hey guys, we're back. Board Bob here. So let's get into this. Basically, when we left, we were still setting up all of the belts. So I've got them all done and laid out, and I went ahead and cleared. You can see where the tree stumps are. I cleared this area out just to take care of having ourselves some space to work. Turn this down a little bit. I can't hear myself think. I got it turned all the way up. And I went ahead and I laid down factories and we filled them up basically. We let them run until they were full. So we're not waiting forever on certain things. So today, or this episode, I don't know about today because it's the same day. I'm just playing probably for the next 4 or 5 hours, knowing me. We're going to go ahead and start setting up our power, and we're going to start setting up our automated resources. So I went ahead and I made some power poles. Power poles are real easy to make. Basically, it's there they are. So power poles are wood and copper cable. So you just throw copper cable into a machine. It makes them 2 to 1, and then you take that and you throw the 2 of them in there, and it'll spit out a bunch of power poles. Now I only made 100. We're probably going to need more than that. So let's go ahead, I guess. But we're gonna use them. Look, we're gonna use them eventually. Let's go ahead and make 100. Okay, and we'll get that going. So now, the next thing we want to look at is we want to go ahead and get our research going, get that restarted. We are right now working on electric miners. Next we're going to work on automation so that we have our electric factories. Then we're going to work on fluid handling so that we can get steam. It gives us pumps and pipes, and then we're going to get our steam power. And from there we can have everything powered in one place, and we can automate our power, we can automate our mining, we can automate our production of steel plates. But one of the things we are going to need to do that, we are going to need inserters. And inserters require burner inserters, and they require electric motors. So first thing we're going to want to make is a bunch of burner inserters. And burner inserters require motors and iron sticks. Well, we got iron sticks that we started making, and we got motors that we started making. So now we can go ahead and we can make burner inserters. And we're going to just let that run through and make as many as that'll make. Now we don't need that many because once they get going, we'll be able to automate it and not have to worry about it too much. But we'll go ahead and bang these out right now. We're going to bang out enough motors to replace what we just had, because we're going to need to make electric motors in order to make our electrified inserters. So we're going to need an electric motor and a burner inserter. So let's go ahead and start. While we're at it, we'll go ahead and start making electric motors. So electric motors require a regular motor and wire. So we'll fuel that up. We'll go down here, we'll get a stack of wire, we'll get a stack of motors, and we'll start making electric motors. So now we're making our burner inserters, and we've got them done. So we can change this over, and we can have it start making regular inserters. And then we can go ahead and put those burner inserters that we just made in there, and as soon as this makes a pile of electric motors, we throw that in there. We'll have our inserters, and we can go set them up. We're not going to completely fill both of these. We're just going to do enough to get them started, and over time, once we get it automated, we can fill in the rest of them. But we want to be able to get it started so that we're not having to craft this stuff, you know, hand jamming it into factories and things like that. So as soon as this finishes up, alrighty, there we go. And that should be enough for now to get us going. We'll throw that in there, and that will start to give us our inserters. We're going to want some burner inserters anyway for our power plant when we get to that point. So it's fine that we have extras of the burner inserters because we'll use them up. We're going to need 20 of them anyway. Actually, we're going to need 40 of them. Sorry, 41 to be exact. But we'll cover that when we get to it. Meanwhile, you know, our research is cooking right along. And there we go. So that's gonna get us going. We'll just go ahead and close off those. In fact, we'll just pick them up. Pick those up. Let it continue to cook. So let's go on up here to our forging area. And we've already got our line set up. And what's going to come in here, like we said before, is going to be our iron and our coal, and our copper and our coal. So we're going to want to take it off of that line, put it onto the center to carry it on out. Same thing from this side. Now we'll have it evenly on both belts. And we're going to do probably, let's say, to start we'll do 5 and 5. We'll do 5 on each side. Right? And then we will do slightly less on the copper side because we don't need as much copper right now. We'll just try and keep it even here. Alright, so there we go. Good enough. So, in order to run these inserters, they're going to have to be powered. Now, right now we only have small power poles. They don't reach very far. I'll show you. They reach that far, okay? And the blue area around them is what's powered. Now, as we get into the bigger poles, they cover more area and they reach further. So we're going to try and orient these to be able to cover things the best. Now, if we moved that inserter and we switched it off and we put them side by side, we cover 3 at a time. This is just how I do it. It's probably a little wasteful. We could actually put them side by side and cover 3 at a time, but whatever. So here, here, and here. Skip 1 here, here, and here. Skip 1 here, here, and here. Now, if you start getting messy with these things, what can happen, and we'll try and see it. See how my lines get all weirded and messed up there? That drives some people nuts. It drives me a little nuts too. I try not to do that as much as possible. And one of the things that helps is paying attention to the order in which you put these things down. Now, the other thing that you can do, and do we have some? We can take our copper wire. If we have our copper wire in hand, we put this pole in the wrong place. Let's fix that first real quick. There we go. If we have our copper wire in hand, we can right click. I think it's right click, isn't it? It used to be. Let's see. I thought. Alright, I'm lying. I have to go back and remember. It's been a long time since I've done it. You can but you can move these wires to where there it is. So we can attach with left click onto the pole, and we can shift and left click and it will detach them, and then we can go ahead and hook that up, right? And there you go, and so on and so forth. Now the thing with it is it eliminates the cable, so you don't get it back. So if you want to fix this so that these are connected here, what we'll have to do is take these 2 poles, take them down, put them back. There we go. All right. So my bad. You don't click on the wire. You click on the pole. But if you ever need to fix your lines, that's how you do it. You can run the lines wherever you want them, as long as they're within the distance that you can. Now, we're not making electricity yet, so that's not going to do us any good until we start making electricity. In addition, we haven't brought electricity over, but now we've got that part set up that as soon as we start supplying it with stuff, it will start producing. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's run our poles, and if I push left mouse button, it puts it down. If I hold the left mouse button, I can run along, and it'll put them at the maximum spacing allowed. Now, if you've got things that need to be powered, one of the nice things is, even though these are 2 spaces apart, if in order to cover something that needs to be powered, it will place it 1 or none apart automatically. It will figure that out for you if you just run along and drop them. Now we're going to put them all the way up to there. We're probably not going to. We're going to eliminate that one because our drills, we want them as far close to the edge as possible. Now this is a wonky edge, so we'll figure that out later. We'll go back down here, and you cannot overload the lines themselves. In other words, you can't have too much current flowing down the line that it will burn out the lines. What you can do, though, is you can run out of power production. And if you click on your pole, it will give you 2 charts. It'll tell you how much you're consuming, how much you're producing. Satisfaction is how much it wants versus how much it actually has. You'll get real familiar with that pretty quickly when you start really building big grids, because you're going to have to keep adding on to your power. So we're going to go ahead and run a line all the way out here to our coal, because we're going to need it out at the coal. Alright, and we're going to run one down to our stone. Since we're over here, we might as well run it down, get it done. There we go. So let's go back on over to our iron, because that's where our manufacturing and stuff is as well. And we'll run a line down to our iron as well. Now right now, we can't electrically mine, run electric mines, but we now have them at least. So once we get down here, we will place our poles and run our lines down to there. Now, let's start looking at our mines, right? So let's go ahead and reset that. That'll take the resources out of it. We'll reset that one. That'll take the resources out of that one, because we don't need them anymore. And let's look at this one and see what we need to build our electric drillers. We're going to need motors, and we're going to need burner mines. So we're going to have to start by building burner mines, which is going to take bricks, it's going to take plates, and it's going to take motors. We have some motors, we have some bricks, we have some plates. So we'll go ahead and get that started. And however many it makes, and we'll then take them and we'll put it in there. Meanwhile, let's grab our motors. Since we know we're going to need electric motors, let's make some more electric motors. Put them up there, grab our wire, put it up there, and got our electric motor started. And that will let us start to make our electric mines. We're also going to need gear wheels. Let's go ahead and grab them. Fuel it up. We'll put the gears in. We don't have any electric motors yet. We're still making them. And we're in no rush for this right now because we still don't have power. We could make a burner generator, and we're going to have to make one, and I'll show you why in a moment. But we're almost to steam power. So since we're almost to steam power, we may as well hold off on our power system until we get to that point. Alright, so now we got our electric motors. Throw them in there. We've got our burner miners. Throw them in there. And that will start making our electric drills. So while that's doing that, let's go ahead and grab some more of our belts. And what we're going to do is we're going to start making our bus. Now, we're going to want to come off of this. And just for ease of balance and ease of use, we're going to have 2 lines. Alright, and then we're going to make some space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Alright. This is going to give us some space to work with all of our other stuff. Now, if you remember, we can take and we can come in here and we can put a splitter down here, and that will split that up into those 2. Right? So if we put a splitter there, we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to come up here. And we'll put a splitter there, and it'll split them up, and it'll come down in 2 lines. Oh, we missed a piece of stone. And this will be the start of our supply bus. And what this will allow us to do is, as we grow, we'll add more things to it. And all of the stuff that we need to make, we can pick off the supplies off of this, make it, put it back on the belts, and feed the rest of our plant. Okay? So where are we standing? Okay, we've got 8. We need an electric motor. We got any more? We need copper wire to make some more. So we'll throw in some more copper. We'll get some more copper wire, and we'll make some more motors. Meanwhile, we have 8. So what we can do is we can take those 8 and we can start setting up. So let's go down here to our coal, because our coal is going to be our lifeblood of energy. So we'll go to the beginning of the patch. Now you can see on this patch there's a space on the outside. It won't let me put it down there because there's nothing to mine. If I put it over here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. Right? It's a 5x5 area that this will mine. But you can overlap them and be more efficient. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to place one here, one here, one here, one here, right? And since coal is our priority, we're going to do that. Now we're still producing these, okay? And we will continue to do that until we have power. The next thing we're going to want to run for this is we're going to run our electricity. So we're going to set it up, and we're going to try and be as efficient as we can with these poles. So we're going to be all the way as close to it as possible. We're going to catch that last one. And then if we run with this all the way to the end of our patch, it will cover any more of them that we sit down. And when we get to the end of our patch, we're going to link the 2 of them together. And we're going to tie it into our electric feed. So now, when I come back down, if I put down another mine in the other direction, it'll feed from the other side, and we'll put a belt in the middle, but it'll be connected too. So there we go. So our mines are set up that as soon as we have electricity, they will start supplying coal to the system. And that's what we want. That leaves us with 2 mines right now. We'll be building more. And we'll be building more fairly quickly. We're just waiting on motors, which is waiting on cables. Alright. So we're going to do the same thing here. we're going to go to the edge of our patch, because we're trying to be as efficient as possible, cover as much of the patch at once as possible. Alright, and we'll just run our lines down right to the edge of our patch. Might as well just go ahead and knock out this part of it now, so that later we're not having to, you know, scratch our heads on where they go and this and that and the other. We just do it all at once, at least for a single line. Hook them up at the end so that they feed one another. And remember to hook that into our system. So now as soon as we get power, these will start drilling as well. And then we'll do the same thing with our copper. We'll grab 2. Because that'll be enough for now for copper. It'll just enough to get us started. Start filling that belt. And like I said, we're going to pull these 2 up, because we're going to try and start right here at this edge. Now I know there's more out here. This is a really funky shaped patch, and we'll deal with that. But let's just go to this edge right here for now. And the poles don't cost us much resources wise, so we'll take them all the way out to the end, even though we're not using them yet, and drop them. And then of course we want to make sure we hook it into our system again. There we go. Now that's hooked up, and as soon as we have power, we'll start having copper. And our smelters are not hooked up yet, but they will be, because we'll just go ahead and drop a pole down there. Now everything is hooked into the line, and you can check if you pull up your map, and we can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, and if we go to electric network, it will show us our electric network, and we're just looking to see if there's any breaks. There's no breaks in the system. Now one thing I recommend, as things get bigger and you start having to worry about biters, and there aren't biters on this map, redundancy. You don't want to have them come over here and take down a pole here, and all of a sudden you have no power over here. I recommend having multiple pathways for your power, so that it goes different ways, and you don't lose your power to one section of your base. One of the things I did while I was waiting on it to build up stuff is I took a walkabout, and I went out one space more, or one radar space. We have a personal radar that reveals part of the map, all the way around, just to see what's out there. So we have a biter base here, a biter base here, biter base here, biter base here, and biter base here. As our pollution grows and starts going over top of these, they are going to come visit us. But now we have an idea of where they are. We can start kind of planning our defenses. One of the things I like to do, at least initially, is to use natural barriers to kind of help us. So if we put a wall all the way down here, it kind of cuts that whole section of the map off from us. We just have to protect that section of the map. And then if we come here and here, we've cut all of that off. And then across here and up, or something like that, or up and over, we'll figure it out. We don't have enough walls and stuff to do that yet, but we're also not polluting enough to have to worry about it. The first ones we're going to probably have to worry about, though, are these ones down here. So we're probably going to, at some point, and it only looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actual spawners. We're going to want to come down here and we're going to wipe these guys out while they're still small. It's going to make it easier on us. We'll probably do that next episode. Once we get our supplies going, we'll worry about that. After that, our first priority is to get our resource production up and running, so that we can just let it run and let it do its thing. So we've got all of that ready. We can't yet do our electric power because we're stuck on that, but we can go ahead and turn that off. We've got enough of those for now. We'll turn them off so that we can use them for other things. Now the next thing we're going to want, like I say, is electric power. And one of the things for that we're going to need is we're going to need a burner turbine. And there's a reason for that. With this particular mod, you have to kickstart the electrical system so that water starts flowing. In just plain vanilla, the pumps don't need electricity. But in this particular version, the pumps need electricity. So we're going to have at least one of these in order to kickstart the system. Now that means we need 4 electric motors. We only have 2. So we're going to have to put in 2 more. 1, 2. There we go. So now that will give us 1 burner generator, our burner turbine. And that's all we need, is just 1. We just need 1 to kickstart the system. We're now working on basic fluid, which is going to give us the pumps. That costs 50. And then we're going to need 100 for steam power, so 150 total. We have 180 already being assembled, or already in the burner lab, so we're good to go on how much science we need. So once this runs out, we won't start building any more science because we'll automate it, and we'll go from there. We're going to leave. We're going to go ahead and make some more gears. We're going to go ahead and make some more belts just so that we have them, because we'll want them. We're going to make some more copper cables because we're going to want those too. So that's got us set up. We just have to wait for fluid handling to give us our pump, and then we can start making pipes, and we can start making our stuff for for steam. Sorry, it's been a long day. I'm a little tongue-tied at the moment. So let's go ahead, since we don't need to be carrying all of this stone around, let's go ahead and dump the stone in a crate. We have another crate? No, we don't have another crate. Let's make another couple of crates. There we go. Alright. Let's go ahead and put our wood in there, because we don't really need our wood right now. Let's put our coal in there so that we're not carrying it around. Everything else we can afford to carry with us. Almost done. So I went ahead and I cleared this area out so that we can work on this bus. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead, while we're thinking of it, and make our splitters. So splitters are going to require belts, plates, and motors. And I think we snagged on, yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and make some more motors real quick. We're getting close to where we're not going to have to worry too much about the basic things anymore, because we're going to automate all of this just as soon as we have electricity. We can actually, in reality, start doing it now, but I just kind of want to, one thing at a time. I don't want to get too far ahead on things if we don't need to. We got plenty of time to do all of this. We got plenty of time to make it all work. We're not racing to try and do the There Is No Spoon achievement, which is doing the entire game all the way up to rockets in 8 hours or less. We're not shooting for that. We're just shooting for actually finishing it. And if we rush ourselves, we're going to end up screwing up and grabbing the wrong thing, and then we're going to really be screwed. All right, so we got that going. We'll leave this stuff here because, excuse me, some of it we're going to need to produce the generators. Let's look at where we're going to put our power plant. Now, our power plant is going to need space, it's going to need coal, and it's going to need water. So, we got our coal coming in this way. We can either put it down here, where it's, you know, it should be out of the way, or we can put it, you know, up here along this coast, but then it's the thing with it is, if we put it down here, it's going to pollute. It's going to get to these guys faster. If we put it up here, we have to go a little more ways with our coal, but our pollution's not going to be as bad. I think we're going to put it, though, I think we're going to put it on the north side of this pond, and we're going to use this area. And if we put it in the trees, well, that's not very many trees, is it? I was going to say, if we put it in the trees, it'll block some of the pollution, but that's not a whole lot of trees. Let's go ahead and clear this out while we're waiting for basic fluid handling. As soon as we get steel production and steel pickaxe production, this will go a lot faster. It's about half the time to chop stuff down as with whatever the tool that we're using that they give us in the game. It used to be that you had to even make this tool. You had 3 levels of speed. You had really, really slow, then you had this when you finally got it, and then you had steel. Thankfully, they got rid of that 3rd one, and it's a little faster now. Now, once you get bots, you just tell the bots to go take them down, and boom, they take them down, which is really nice. Or, my favorite, it doesn't completely get rid of them, but it gets rid of a lot of them. Flamethrower. You will get to a point where you can make a flamethrower, and you can use it to burn down the trees. I like to use it to find the biters' nests in the woods, and the biters in the woods, and I just set the woods on fire. And then it's bye-bye biters. Now, the downside of that, of course, is a lot of pollution, and it really makes them mad. But at that point, you're far enough along that you can protect yourself pretty well, and it's just fun. And doing this, again, like I say, is not really a waste because we will use these for poles. I don't throw them away. Some people, you know, they'll put all of them in a chest and then they'll blow up the chest and get rid of them, and I understand that when it gets further along because they do get in the way, they do build up, but they make poles and they make chests for situations where you only need a small chest, maybe temporarily or something like that, and they make fuel. You can burn them, so rather than just, you know, destroying them, throw them in a chest, set up an inserter that, you know, on you know, a smelting area for like stone or something like that. It's not critical, and just let them go. Let them dump into your chests. All right. So now we have fluid handling. We're working on steam power. Steam power's got 100. So we can go ahead now and we can look at making our offshore pump. And our offshore pump's going to take pipe and electric motors. So, do we have any electric motors? No. Of course we don't. So we're going to want motors to make electric motors. We'll just let that run anyway because we're going to need which one's out of coal? Okay. We're going to need the extras anyway, so we might as well just make them. Alright, there we go. Electric motors. Let that cook. And we're going to want pipes. So pipe is there. And pipe is just plate. Easy to make. We'll go ahead and it's already put the wood up there. We'll just go ahead and leave the wood in there. How we doing here? Alright, there we go. So that's all of our science packs that we have. We're not going to make any more science packs because we will automate that. And we're very close to it. We have enough that we can research it. It only takes 100. So there we go. All right. So now we want our pump. And our pump takes an electric motor, actually 2 electric motors and 4 pipes. So we get our pipes going down here. We're going to need a lot more. And electric motors and 4 pipes. 1, 2, 3, 4. We only really need one of these right now. We'll need more later, but for right now we only need one. But what we're going to need is we're going to need some pipe to grounds. They take 10 pipes and 5 iron plates. So we'll go ahead and plop that in there. It's only going to make us 8 because they make them 2 at a time. But that's enough. That'll get us started. And we're almost got enough straight pipes. We'll go ahead and fill that up and let it build. And then once we have this, we're going to go ahead and start getting set up for our power plant. And that's enough to get us started. Okay, so let's come over here with our pump. And you see, as soon as I picked up the pump, and I'll show you again, I'm going to put it down, no green markings. As soon as I pick up the pump, all these green markings, they tell you where you can put your pump. And the pump will automatically orient in the direction you can feed it. So we are going to put it down here. Now, it seems to make sense to put it up here. I'm going to put it down here, and I'll show you why. I'm going to take a pipe to ground, and we're going to run it out to its maximum length, right there. Now, the reason I did that is so that I can run belts or anything else I need to past it. It's my habit. It's the way I do things. It is what it is. These little gray things here, by the way, these are fish. You can right-click on them and pick them up. Fish will give you health. Now, in this particular mod, you can actually go into the shallows. So you can actually get out here a little bit further. You're slow doing it, but you can get out into the water further. And each time you pick one of these up, it'll give you 5 fish. And these fish will give you health. Or at least they do in the base game. We'll see if they do in this mod. I don't remember. Anyway, so we got our pipe to our pipe. Now we're going to take a straight pipe. I'm going to place it here. All right. And then when we get them, we're going to put boilers all along here. Okay. And then the boilers will be fed by a burner inserter, a line coming down, a burner inserter to the other side, and another boiler, right? So what we do is we're going to put this here, and we're going to put a pipe to ground and a pipe to ground, so that when the time comes, we can run boilers up both sides of this, and that'll be our feed for our coal. So we'll come up here to our coal, split that off. Now we have a couple of options. Right now we're not making stone, so we're just going to break this, but we can either go underground with this one or underground with this one. When it comes to it, I'm going to put it underground to the stone. We don't need it right now, but there's going to give us our coal supply down to our power plant. All right. But like I said, this pump now needs, because of the mod, it needs power. In the vanilla game, it doesn't need it. So even if I had this whole power plant built, it would sit there and wouldn't do diddly squat because it has no power. So we have to run a power pole up here to our plant, and we're just going to run it right to there for right now. But like I said, we need a kicker to be able to get this whole system started, and it just has to be within this blue area. But the other thing we want it to do is we want it to be fed by coal as well, so that it never dies, right? So if we put it here and we put a burner inserter, okay, and I'm going to put a pole here and a pole here because I know I want them there, just because of having set this plan up before. Now if I power this, and I'm not going to do it right now, but if I put power to this, this pump will now work. See how it's changed from the yellow to this red no power, as opposed to a plug because it didn't have power? See, it's not plugged in. Now it's plugged in, it just doesn't have any power. Of course, that means it doesn't have any fuel. Now if I fuel that, it's going to energize this little teeny system, and we're going to have our fluid flowing. But I want to show you what happens if you don't put a little kicker motor in. So we're basically right now just waiting on our steam power to finish researching. Now we can cheat and we can go up here and look, and that's going to take a stone furnace and pipe, and this is going to take gears, electric motors, and iron plates. So let's make sure we have those. We have electric motors, we have stone furnace, we have some iron plates, and we have gears, right? So that is everything we need. We need gears, electric motors, iron plates, right? And pipes and stone furnaces. Pipes, stone furnaces. So we will be able to make them as soon as that research is done, and we'll plop them on here. Now, you will be able to put, and I don't know that we have enough space here to do it, ultimately one pump will service 20 boilers and 40 steam generators. So you're able to put 10 on one side, 10 on the other side, and then 20 and 20 because they stack. And that's all the power you're going to need for a fairly long time in this game. So let's go over here while we're waiting, because now we're just sort of waiting, and we always want to be doing something. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and pick these up. We don't really need them anymore. We'll get them picked up. We're going to go up and we're going to pick up our copper drills, and we're going to put down these other two mining drills that we have. Even though we're going to need iron more than we're going to need copper to start, to save us a trip later, we're going to put these two down here. And that'll get us started, because we'll be close enough down here with this iron that we can just drop two more down. It's going to be easier to do it down here than it is to run all the way back up there. Okay? So there's that. We can start picking the rest of this stuff up because we don't need it. We can just leave this going, and as soon as steam power's on, we got it. Now, we know that we are going to need certain things for our base. We've already shown that we need a ton of motors. And in order to make motors, we're going to need a ton of gears. So the first thing we're going to set up is gear production, because gear production is going to feed everything. Wire production is going to feed everything. So let's get those two basic things out of the way right off the bat. And then the next thing we'd put in is we'd put in motors. So let's go ahead and start thinking about how we're going to lay out our gear production. All right. So if we come up here, and we come up here with a belt, and that belt feeds these factories from these iron mines, and then this comes back out. We come in with an inserter, out with an inserter, gives us one side, and then out with an inserter, in with an inserter, gives us the other side, right? We're only going to put 4 for now, because that's really kind of all we need for right now. And we're going to tell it to make gears. Now, I can shift, right click, and just copy that to each of them. Alright. So we're going to have to come up here, come off of our line, come up onto our belt. And then that's going to start giving us our, and we're gonna use these burner inserters. We'll replace them. We'll just throw them down for now, just for illustration. Just like we're putting down burner factories for right now, or burner assemblers for right now. Eventually, these will be powered by electric. So same thing as over here. We need to power everything. We need to power all of our inserters, and you'll notice that'll cross over to those two inserters there. So we just need to come down here with another one, and then we got to cover these two, right? And then we just hook that into the system, and we're close enough that this will actually interconnect between the two once we get it going. So that will have us come up, it'll feed us iron plates, and then feed us back out gears. And this is where I was saying we want to leave ourselves some space, because we want to start being able to jump across. So we're going to reset this, because what we're going to do is we're going to make some undergrounds. And underground transport belts require transport belts and iron plates. So we're just going to give it a few. Right? And we're going to give it some iron plates. And of course we're going to give it some fuel, because it's a burner. And And that's going to give us our undergrounds. Alright, so now we should have an even number of undergrounds because it makes them in even numbers. No, that was it. Oh, that was it. Oh, when you, something else too. When you put down your burner inserters, they come pre-fueled with a little bit of fuel. So you're not immediately having to fuel them. The first thing they will do is they will fuel themselves, but you don't have to. Alright, so now we're going to bring that down. Let's even this up. Right? There we go. And then that will do that. We'll go ahead and make a splitter. We got enough stuff to make one splitter? Yeah, we got enough stuff to make one splitter. There we go. Right, so now iron will feed up both sides. Gears will feed down both sides. It'll go under this belt, and here we have it on our bus. Now we have gears. We're going to want to do the same thing, basically the same thing, with copper cable. Up. We'll do that next though. But what we'll do is we're going to set up the same exact deal for copper cable. We're going to come across, we'll do our copper cable on this side since that's going to feed our copper, and we'll go from there. But for right now, let's go back down here. Drop down our factory. And the first thing we're going to want to make is we're going to want to make some boilers. Alright. And boilers are going to take one stone furnace. We're going to make 2 boilers to start. Okay? Because we don't really need more than that. That'll get us our power going. And then we want steam engines. Now, like I said, steam engines, it's one boiler supports 2 steam engines, one pump supports 20 boilers and 40 steam engines. So now we can go ahead and we can plop this up here, we can plop this here, and we're going to put in enough to make 4 steam engines. 1, 2, 3, 4, because we made 2 boilers. So we want 40 plates, right? That should make 4 steam engines. Bada bing, bada boom. Now we pick that up. Now, if we go over here, here's what I was talking about. Take our boiler, and it's got 2 water goes in, goes out of. They're bidirectional. You can see the arrow. See, it's a double arrow. And 1 steam output. The steam output's where you're going to hook up your steam engine. The water is going to hook up to either end of this, and they will feed through. So you can daisy chain these. Now we're going to put down a steam engine, and then I'm going to put a. This is a habit of mine simply because it allows me to place poles better. Because these short poles only have so much reach. So we're going to put 1 down, put a pipe down, put a second one down. We're going to go on this side and do the same thing. 1 down, pipe down, steam engine down. Okay? Now you see these ones are plugged in but no fuel. These ones are not plugged in. I can put my pole here, and I can put my pole here. If I didn't put this pipe in, what would happen is this. Steam engine, steam engine. My next steam engine goes right next to it. I got no place to put my pipe, or put my pole. If I put a pipe in, I have enough room to stack my steam engine, and then I can just stack these right on up, all the way up here. Now, The only thing I'm lacking at this point is fuel and water. I can put fuel in these boilers all day long, but without water they won't go. In the vanilla game, that's all I would have to do. They'd eventually slowly start to pump up, and I would be making steam because this pump would work with no electric. Not in this particular version. In this particular version, you have to power the pump. So, let's power the pump. Now the pump is working. It's sending steam up, or sending water up here. We're going to be creating steam. Bob's your uncle. But what we have to do is we now have to connect this into the system. And when we connect that into the system, all the work we did before is going to pay off. We're starting to make coal. We're starting to make iron. And up here you'll see we should be starting to make copper. There it is. And it's all going to come right down here. And it's going to meet up in our smelting area. Take a couple of minutes to do it, because one of the things that this is going to do is it's going to feed this coal in two directions. It's going to feed it down to the power plant, and it's going to feed it over to us. So it's going to split it off 50-50, right? So it's going to take a while for the coal to get to us, but now our power plant is going to start to get coal. We put 50 in each of these, so we don't have to worry about it running out of energy before it gets there. That's going to turn around and feed itself, and then it's going to feed that burner. Now that's going to continue to just run. We may at some point create a circuit so that this only runs when it needs to. But for right now, we're not going to worry about it. But let's get down here and look what's happening here. These inserters have already put iron into there, and we're only getting it on one side of the belt. Now when this coal comes down, it's going to split it. It's going to go in both directions. One's going to go there, next one's going to go there, next one's going to back and forth, okay? It's got a little animation. You can see it switching over here. They're going to start to come down on the opposite side of the belt. Now it's going to start feeding our furnaces. And now, rather than having to hand jam all this coal over and over into these, we now have an automated system. This is going to produce all the plates we could want for the foreseeable future as we build up more and more mines. And that'll get us started on that. And you can see they're going to start to come down here. They're going to start to feed onto these belts and start to feed our gear production. Now, what we haven't done yet is we haven't turned on the electricity to these factories, because we're going to want to replace these burner inserters with regular electric inserters, the same as we got up here. So we're just going to let this all build up a little bit and let it cook. While we're doing that, we can come over here. One thing, we can power our lab, because our lab is out of coal. And we can get rid of all of that stuff we're carrying, because we don't need it anymore. We'll take this on, we'll take this copper and we'll put it up in here. And then eventually, like I say, we will connect that to power. We're going to run a better power supply there, okay? These are not powered yet because they're not the right factories. We would have to put coal in them to get them to be producing gears. And you know what? Since we want gears anyway, let's go ahead and grab some of that coal. We'll go ahead and fuel this stuff up one time because we're going to need the stuff that's in it just to be able to create enough inserters so that everything is powered inserters. So we might as well just go ahead and fuel it right now. I don't like the idea of doing that because it is going to cause an issue of pollution. Our pollution is going to increase dramatically because of this, but that's okay, because our next task after we get enough inserters built for all of this, which I'm going to do off camera. We know how to build inserters. I'm just going to grab the resources as they come down here. I'm going to build a bunch of inserters. I'm going to finish out all of this smelting so that it all is working. Then we're going to start working on two things. We're going to start increasing our number of miners, and we are going to work on our defenses. So we're going to automate those in the next episode, get that stuff all started building, and we're going to start building walls because now we're going to be making a bunch of pollution and we're going to want to kill these guys. Okay, so there we go. Like I say, I'm going to go ahead and let this materials build up. We're going to make inserters and then we'll be back. Alright guys, have a good day. Bye.